extended the stay-home order through April 30th. There were very few changes that were in there, but there are a couple that we will go into in depth. The order, as I said, extended through the 30th and starts today, the 15th. And so what does that mean for us with the extension? That means that most people in the state of Idaho will still continue to work remotely as much as possible. As for the city will continue to work remotely, and the facilities will remain closed. There was nothing within the order that changes our current operational response. Essential travel is still the only travel that's allowed in the state of Idaho, and short-term rental restrictions are still in place. In the order and in the press conference, it's businesses are advised that they should prepare for an reopening on May 1st, as long as they prepare operational plans over the next 2 weeks during that time frame to maintain social distancing for staff and patrons, to provide adequate sanitation and protective coverings for employees, vendors, and patrons, and offer curbside and pickup delivery, and limit the number of people in the business at a time. Those things would need to be in place if they are going to reopen on May 1st. And this only applies if there's an upward, it only applies if an upward trend of infections does not occur within the state, meaning if we continue this flattened curve or we see a reduction in the daily number of infections, then we're looking at a business opening on May 1st. There were two notable amendments to this order, the first being Section 7B, Roman numeral 1, and it deals with out-of-state travelers. It requires, not requests or recommends, but requires out-of-state travelers to self-quarantine for a minimum of 14 days upon entry into the state of Idaho. Now, those people that perform essential services or who live in one state and work or gain essential services in another are excluded. So, say for instance, you have a travel nurse that lives in Idaho and goes to Wyoming to perform services and comes back, she would not have to quarantine for the 14 days. I've reached out for clarification from legal and from ICREP regarding enforcement of this particular statute or this requirement within the state order. It looks like that if someone does indeed come from out of state and they do fail to maintain their self-quarantine for 14 days, that it could be a violation. And that again relates back to the misdemeanor charge that we've talked about in defiance of this state order. So more to come on that. Section 8F, Roman numeral 25, speaks to essential businesses. Now, the essential businesses have not changed for the most part. There were no changes, for example, for bars, nightclubs, gyms, restaurants, hair and nail salons, public events, or gatherings. However, as of this date, April 15th through April 30th, businesses that can may operate curbside or delivery between those dates. They have to have curbside delivery or delivery to a residence. They cannot have patrons inside the store during the 15th through the 30th. So, for example, someone may be able to place an order by phone or online and have the goods either delivered to their residence, or they can show up at the place of business curbside and someone bring the goods to them. No in-store customers will be allowed. Those are the essential changes with this order. It was fairly succinct. We're looking at a 5-1 reopening of businesses as long as the curve stays flattened. There were no changes that would cause the city to deviate from our current response in this. So if you have questions specifically regarding this order, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer them.
How about we hold until we get the briefing from Michelle, and then we'll open it up for council call on each council member.
Okay, this is Michelle Grunewald. So our staff's been working on a number of different things. Specifically, Delta and Aaron are pushing out 3 things that the city of McCall is doing to help businesses. So the first one is the idea that we're looking after businesses And so the McCall Police Department is making that special effort to go check on closed business locations and make sure that those properties are safe and protected. The second item is letting people know how to reach you. So this is essentially allowing for businesses to use temporary signage to either like a banner or an A-frame sign at the business location without any city review or permit costs. And that way people can announce kind of what services are available, like pickup, delivery, open for business, that sort of thing. And then the third item is the no worry water bills, which you're familiar with. So people can work with the city, either businesses or residents that need to postpone or defer payments of their water bills. We've also built on our economic development page 4 quick links to information to help businesses with some of the financial burdens. So that is basically a summary of what's happening. Also, Delta was asked to attend a new group that's being formed called the Business Response Group tomorrow. She received an email from Sherry Maupin, who's organizing this group, and plans to attend, and will get back to us on what she learns about the group and that effort. The basic gist of that is it's a group who's looking to try to figure out how do we open up the economy, yet also balance the health and safety of our residents, given, you know, all of the mandates and orders in place.
Thank you, Michelle. Annette, did you have anything else, or is it okay if I ask our group to ask questions?
No, I think we can open it up for questions. The only thing I would add is that how businesses operate after May 1st does come with a set of expectations from the governor regarding social distancing still in place, sanitation efforts, proper face coverings for employees, things like that. So there is some work that has to be done on the employer side to be able to open back up. But otherwise, yes, please ask your questions and we'll try to answer them the best we can.
All right, we'll start with Melanie.
Hi guys. I guess in reading the governor or watching the governor today and just looking into Central District Health and CDC and all of that today, my question would be along the lines of how we can, in a very clear manner, put out between now and May 1st instructions to the businesses and just to our community on how this will kind of work for them and what they can do. And you know, I feel like a lot of people are looking towards us to provide those instructions, and they're not looking for us to just say, well, look at what the governor said. They're looking to us to lay it out in a list. Is that something we can do?
Councillor Holmes, yes, I think that's the intent of the work group that Delta's attending tomorrow is how do we work together regionally and at the local level to give a clear message to our businesses and not confusing instructions, and along with the support and referrals they need to get up and running. One of the things I noticed is this expectation around masks, and we know we have the Valley County quote mask force that's quickly sewing as many face coverings as possible and making those available for free at the fire districts. And so I would imagine we'll try to make sure that employers who need face coverings for their employees know how they can obtain those quickly and at free or no cost, low cost. So that's an example, but I do believe that's what the group Sherry invited Delta to is going to try to do.
Okay, and then I did notice also that there was mention of even the patrons wearing masks or being provided masks. upon entry. And so that would be a big factor for me too, whether or not there will be enough supply.
Sure. I don't know, Justin, if you know anything about, if you've heard anything about supplies or anything of that nature lately.
Well, the supplies are drastically limited. The federal government has pretty much taken over production of the mask situation and ordered 3M, and I believe they're making 30 million masks. However, those masks are the N95 masks, and they're going to be going to locations that have a much higher risk factor than what we do. Our masks that we ordered for the police department, we're down the list as far as being supplied simply because of the fact the outbreak in the state of Idaho is less than that across the United States. As far as the normal masks, the smaller cloth masks, the fabric masks, those are coming from independent sources, from individuals that are making them themselves. Some factories are making them. So it will be up to the business to provide those. It will be up to the business owners to find those sources the same way that we're trying to find them ourselves. It takes a little luck and some research, and hopefully you can be in the right place at the right time to be able to purchase them. We do have some coming for all employees of the city. They were ordered 9 days ago, I believe, and so we're waiting on delivery of the fabric masks for the city employees so that they can use them when in public as well.
Okay, but I guess that answers the question, but it sounds a little ominous as to how they will be able to provide.
Yes, it's definitely a challenge, but I think the intention of the governor is to prevent a second outbreak. And so he really emphasized, he's still, even after this April 30th date, is still encouraging or requiring the social distancing and all of these practices to minimize the spread. So yeah, as we can support our businesses and also other agencies, the school district, for example, in helping coordinate how people can get those masks and other items they need, we're happy to help.
Yeah. Do you feel like the message that people could potentially go into a business, but the business puts out the message that they come wearing their own mask?
Sure.
The business being the provider.
I don't see why not. I mean, I think the point the governor was trying to make is that the general public should be wearing those when they're out in public at all times, not just when they appear on the business doorstep. I don't know if Bill has any comments about that. He read through the whole thing with Justin this afternoon, but I think he was just trying to make a point that people need to have these coverings on when they're interacting with other people.
Okay, that's all I really had. Thank you.
Melody, I'm also wondering if we can't work with the chamber on providing some business guidance on kind of like those basic protocols and summarizing them for folks.
I think that would be a really good way to put out the message if the chamber does it as well as the city, because those are the places that people seem to be looking to, and they obviously don't want to. They want to hear it from us. So I think that's a great idea, Aaron.
Okay, Mike, do you have any questions of staff? I do not. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Todd? No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Todd. Colby?
No, I think all my questions have been answered.
Okay, thank you, council. I don't have any further questions either. On our business agenda today, we do have one action item, and that is the review and consideration of an extension of the local emergency declaration. If we do nothing, our existing emergency declaration would go out of date today. So we'll need to have some discussion on that. I talked with Annette this afternoon about 2 p.m. and she and I thought that it would make sense for us to have a motion made and voted on that would extend our local emergency declaration to April 30th. So let me go down our list of councilors, council people that are on the call today and see what your thoughts are on that. Melanie?
I would agree with going through April 30th as the governor has instructed.
Thank you. Mike?
Yes, I'm on board.
Tom?
Yeah, I think we should let it expire.
Let it expire today?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Colby?
Yeah, I think that we should probably continue to mirror the state level stuff. It just makes sense. I'm kind of curious as to why Tom thinks we should let it expire.
Tom, could you respond to Colby's question?
I think we've been overrun by the governor, and so it doesn't really matter what we do at this point in time. So, you know, the words from higher are going to come, and we're going to follow whatever they say. So extending our own thing to meet the governor's demands to me doesn't make any sense. So,
Councilman Sowers, if I may interject, this is Justin Williams. The purpose of that order also allows us to recuperate expenses that we would otherwise not be able to recuperate, such as the purchase of masks, such as the purchase of hand sanitizer, cleaning products, and those type of things. We cannot be reimbursed at a federal level or state level if we do not extend the emergency order. So it does directly impact any funding resources that we could have.
well, I understand that finances and money are always the reason. I've just taken a stand and saying I don't believe we need to.
Thank you, Tom, and Justin, thank you for reminding us about financial aspects of a emergency declaration, whether you have one or whether you don't. That does affect our ability, like you said. At this point, I would like to ask someone to make a motion to extend the local emergency declaration to April 30th.
I move the emergency declaration to April 30th.
Second,
Thank you, Colby.
Melanie.
Thank you, Melanie. The motion to extend the declaration local disaster emergency to April 30th has been made and seconded. Joe, would you help us with a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Nielsen,
Yes.
Councilmember Holmes,
Yes.
Mayor Giles,
Yes?
Councilmember Machezik,
Yes?
Councilmember Sowers,
No. Thank you, council. So the motion for extending the local disaster emergency passes and will be extended to April 30th, effective today. Annette, did you have other comments to share with us, council, about today's developments in COVID-19 and the current emergency we're under?
No, I think I've shared everything that I'm aware of, and then the May 7th council meeting, of course, we have another item on there for an update, and I anticipate at
the website for City of McCall, and we've got that banner going across the top. And the last section of it says 14 self-quarantine when traveling into Idaho from outside the state. And my comment would be, shouldn't it say 14-day quarantine?
Oh, sure, yeah, we can fix that, no problem.
It just doesn't read very well at that last part, so. But thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Council, thank you for making this a priority to prepare for the meeting, read the materials, give it some thought, and good discourse and dialogue today. I appreciate that. Would someone please make a motion to adjourn our meeting?
We adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
None? All right, the motion passes. We are now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you.